Hello everyone. Today, we are presenting economic themes within the 1920s and how it reflects or interacts with the Great Gatsby. Calvin Coolidge's 1925 speech reflects the 1920s obsession with business, wealth, and economic power, ideas that shaped the world of the Great Gatsby. Coolidge describes commerce as the foundation of American success, portraying business not just as a means to wealth, but as a moral force that stabilizes society. He argues that economic prosperity gives people something to work for and promotes social order. This directly parallels the Great Gatsby, where wealth is seen as the key to status and influence. But as we'll see later, the Great Gatsby greatly contradicts this idea. For Tom Buchanan, money is a proof of superiority. He doesn't need to work for it at all, because he lives in East Egg, providing him the old money status that keeps him at the top of society with prestige. Gatsby, on the other hand, is driven by the belief that wealth can change the past, and essentially recreate his identity. Coolidge believes his business and making money are good for society. They create jobs, give people purpose, and keep the country stable. However, in The Great Gatsby, wealth is shown in a very different way. Gatsby makes a lot of money, but instead of finding real happiness or acceptance, he wastes it on huge parties and flashy displays that don't bring true happiness and don't fulfill his true desires of alluring Daisy. In fact, the novel shows that money alone cannot guarantee fulfillment or respect, and that chasing wealth for the wrong reasons can lead to disappointment and emptiness. Coolidge also praises New York as the world's greatest empire, built on commerce rather than government. In The Great Gatsby, New York also represents unlimited ambition and opportunity, but also greed and corruption. Gatsby's fortune, earned through bootlegging and shady business deals, mirrors the speculative, high-risk economy of the 1920s, where people sought rapid wealth without concern for consequences. Coolidge describes economic success as a source of stability, yet Fitzgerald shows its instability. Gatsby builds an empire, only to lose everything. While Coolidge sees business as a path to order and justice, The Great Gatsby critiques this vision, exposing the moral decay beneath the era's material success. The novel suggests that wealth, when pursued for its own sake, leads not to greatness, but to emptiness, excess, and ultimately destruction.
The 1920s are often remembered as a decade of wealth and celebration, fast cars, jazz music, and also Gatsby's parties. However, the time period was also marked by major economic shifts that influenced both society and the characters in Fitzgerald's novel. After World War I, inflation surged and wages struggled to keep up. In 1920, the Federal Reserve raised interest rates to control rising prices, triggering a severe recession. Unemployment spiked, industries collapsed, and businesses shut down. But by 1922, the economy bounced back, fueled by new industries like automobiles and consumer goods. The stock market soared, and wealth seemed attainable to many. These economic shifts created the world we see in The Great Gatsby. Gatsby represents the rise of new money, people who made fortunes quickly, often in uncertain or shady industries, such as bootlegging or stock speculation. Meanwhile, Tom and Daisy symbolize the old money, those who remained wealthy regardless of economic conditions. This divide between old and new money was a defining characteristic of the 1920s and created social tensions that Fitzgerald captures throughout the novel. The economic shifts of the time period also changed social roles. Women entered the workforce and gained financial independence, reflected in characters like Jordan Baker, a competitive golfer who challenges traditional gender norms. Interestingly, the 1920s economy mirrors today's in many ways. Just like the early 1920s, the time following the COVID-19 pandemic saw inflation, job market shifts, and Federal Reserve policies aimed at slowing the economy. These economic booms can create illusions of prolonged prosperity, but these periods don't last forever, and The Great Gatsby serves as a warning for unchecked wealth and ambition. Understanding the economy of the 1920s helps us see that The Great Gatsby was not just a novel about lost love, but as a reflection of the fragile nature of wealth, power, and the American dream.
Now let's move on to the idea of wealth and prestige. The 1920s was a time of rapid growth, modern cities, new technology, and an obsession with wealth and status. The Great Gatsby reflects both the glamour of the era and its hidden emptiness. Many of its themes, like the illusion of success, are still relevant today. During the 1920s, cities expanded, and grand buildings like those from the Panama, California Exposition were designed to impress. These buildings symbolize power and progress, just like Gatsby's mansion. He built it not just for luxury, but to prove his worth and win Daisy back. Both reflect the era's obsession with appearances and reinvention. Cities and businesses still use architecture to project wealth and status. Think of massive skyscrapers, luxury hotels, or even celebrity mansions. The 1920s also promoted the idea that anyone could become successful through ambition. Bruce Barton's The Man Nobody Knows even portrayed Jesus as a successful businessman. Gatsby embodies this idea. He reinvents himself from a poor soldier into a wealthy socialite, using charm and spectacle to create his own version of success. But unlike Barton's vision, Gatsby's dream is built on illusion, leading to his downfall. Social media has created a new version of this, people carefully curating their online lives to appear wealthy and successful, even if it's not real. Finally, the 1920s appeared to be an era of endless prosperity, but much of its wealth was unstable. Gatsby's fortune, like the decade's booming economy, is built on illusion, flashy on the surface, but fragile underneath. He believes money can buy him a new identity and rewrite his past, but in the end, his dream crumbles. Similarly, the economic boom of the 1920s led to the stock market crash of 1929, exposing how much of the era's success was unsustainable. Today, we still see wealth built on shaky foundations, whether it's social media influencers projecting fake luxury lives or financial crises like the 2008 crash. The illusion of success still remains as important and powerful as ever.
The 1920s was a decade of rapid economic expansion, referred to as the, quote, Roaring Twenties. This period was fueled by industrial growth, consumerism, and speculation regarding the stock market. This rise of output and mass production, specifically demonstrated by the automobile and household good businesses, created economic prosperity while simultaneously deepening the divide between social classes, as the economy experienced unprecedented wealth inequality. Previously, wealthy business owners who amassed lots of inherited money were able to monopolize certain sectors of the economy, thus becoming far more rich. A specific example was Rockefeller. The illusion of endless economic growth led to very risky financial decisions, which led to the Great Depression. Furthermore, this era saw social changes like none other, such as the emergence of the, quote, New Woman, which loosened the traditional values, and the prohibition of alcohol, which led to the rise of crime. These values are specifically seen in Chapter 7, are key components of the novel's plot and main message. Through The Great Gatsby, Fitzgerald employs evident scenes of wealthy people as it suits the whole novel. It portrays the pursuit of the American dream and the social hierarchy that was defined throughout the Progressive Era. Gatsby represents the self-made man, one who achieved wealth through shady means, as we learn in Chapter 7. His parties represent the era's focus on material goods, in which social gatherings became a showcase of wealth rather than social connections. The divide between East and West Egg showcases the clash of wealth and self-made success. The Valley of Ashes plays a crucial role in demonstrating this disparity between rich and poor. Now, I would like to share a quote which highlights this discrepancy from the description of Gatsby's mansion, not only in the book, but further can be shown through the video playing. The goal is to compare the description of Valley of Ashes to what you can see in Gatsby's mansion. Here's a quote. This is the Valley of Ashes, a fantastic farm where ashes grow like wheat into ridges and hills and grotesque gardens, where ashes take forms of houses and chimneys and rising smoke, finally with the transcendent effort of men who move dimly and are already crumbling through the powdery air. Many aspects of the 1920s economy parallel in recent events. We can relate this to the 2008 recession, in which was driven by the same economic decisions. Furthermore, the gap between wealthy and elite is still very prevalent today, and further concerns about income inequality are being brought out. Lastly, the status that comes with owning vast material wealth is still heavily present in modern society. Here stands Gatsby, not just a man, but a monument to economic success. Beautiful, fragile, and destined to fall.